So number 7, I can do any way that I want to do it. I can solve it by completing the square, which is how I will set it up. I will show you other ways if that's what you want to do. So make your box. Half of 10 is 5. X, 5, 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So I take that 25, I add it here, and I add it here. And then I take my x plus 5 squared. And 1 plus 25 is 26. Sets me up for square root. X plus 5 equals plus or minus square root of 26. Subtract 5. X equals -5 plus or minus square root of 26. Okay? I want to show you different ways because we solve by completing the square, but you could also do the quadratic formula. If you decide to do the quadratic formula, you need to set it equal to 0. So that 1 becomes a -1. Then you find A, you find B, you find C, and then you do the formula. -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2 times A. Remember, the most difficult part for me is the square root. So 100, 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. So square root of 96. That's a big number. I'm going to have to tree it. One set of doubles, 2 set of doubles. That means these 2 doubles give me the 4. I'm left with the 3 and the 2 at the bottom of my tree, rad 6. So that means all of that turned into 4 rad 6 plus or minus -10 over 2. Problem is, all of those can divide by 2. So -5, 2, 1, which is -5 plus or minus 2 rad 6. So look at that answer. And hopefully, if I did it right, yep. Oops, then I made a mistake somewhere. I gotta redo this dumb video. So I almost love, actually, that I went too fast. Because this is why I don't like the quadratic formula. It takes way too long, and it's too easy to make silly mistakes. Here was my mistake. Boom, that's a -1. So that means that's really negative, and negative makes a positive. That means this is really the square root of 104. And now I tree it, 2 and 52, 2 and 26. There's my double. So it's really -10 plus or minus 2 rad 26 over 2. Simplify by 2, which is -5 plus or minus rad 26. Which is, now that I fixed it, the exact same thing I got here. But if you look here again, so many steps means so many opportunities for silly mistakes. So if you're really good at completing the square, that's what I suggest. Okay? Let's do this one. Remember, the x squared has all the power. You can do the quadratic formula, but you know I'm going to want to do guess and check. I'm going to use pencil because I know that I'm going to be guessing and checking. So I'm going to go 7 and 1. Oh, I got lucky. 14 and 3. To get my -11 means that's negative, that's positive. So boom, set that equal to 0. Take that. 3x minus 7 equals 0. Add 7. 3x equals 7 divided by 3. So x equals 7/3. Set this equal to 0. And I get -1/2. Remember, you can check your answers by storing values. All right. Number 8, I know I can't factor that because I'm good at guessing and checking, and I can see that I can't, so I have to do the quadratic formula. So because I made a mistake on the previous one, let me go more slowly. And let me write the formula here because it's very easy to make silly mistakes. I didn't say this is easy. I said it's easy to make mistakes. So -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2 times a. Remember, for me, the most difficult part is this one, so I take care of that first. 1 squared is 1. Multiply all of this. Don't even look at the negatives. 4 times 3 is 12, times 5 is 60, and a negative times a negative is a positive. 1 plus 60 is 61, and that's prime, so that's cool. So I'm done. -1 plus or minus rad 61 over 6, x equals. I can't simplify it anymore, so I'm good to go. Number 10, This reminds me of the square root. So subtract 5, 9x squared equals 32. Divide by 9, x squared. Let me show. Equals 32 over 9, square root, square root. Now I'm going to go more slowly. Square root of 32 over the square root of 9. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of 32 I have to tree. One set of doubles and another set of doubles. 4 rad, what am I left with? 2. So my answer is x equals plus or minus 4 rad 2 over 3. Now, let's say you decided to do number 10 using the quadratic formula. If you decide to do number 10 using the quadratic formula, you would have to set it equal to 0, which means you would have to move this over. Now that it's set equal to 0, you can do the quadratic formula. But know that your A would be 9, your B would be 0, and your C would be negative 32. So if you want to do the quadratic formula, that's fine, but make sure it says equals 0. And why am I saying that? Because look here, the bonus. It says solve for x in 3 different ways. What if I gave you a problem that I asked you to do like this? You could do this one by doing the square root. You could do also by the quadratic formula. I'm going to put a problem on there where you can solve it at least 3 different ways. Okay?